Fall is upon us. And for local advertisers, that means gearing up for a holiday season inside a tumultuous election year. What do they think about the current economic situation and where it's going? We'll find out in this Local Marketing Minute.
Welcome to Corey's Local Marketing Minute, an enlightening and entertaining look at what's happening in the world of local advertising and marketing. Corey's Local Marketing Minute is brought to you by Adcelerant.
Adcelerant provides best-in-class digital advertising solutions. Our proprietary technology covers your entire sales funnel, from proposal creation and campaign launch to monitored performance. We collaborate with local media companies and agencies to deliver excellent customer service, sales support, campaign management, and more. As an industry leader, we'll go above and beyond to ensure your success. Unlock your digital advertising potential with Adcelerant.
Hello everybody, and welcome to this late September-ish, early October-ish kind of time. Look, I don't know when you watch these things, but when I recorded it, it's September, and that means it's time for another Q3 Business Barometer. 4 questions, 3 time frames, 4 questions, 3 time frames. Something we ask our SMB panel every quarter. But before we get into what they think, remember to subscribe and comment on these things. And like, even if you don't, and share. It's all part of what we do now. We share and like and comment and subscribe. Okay, so the barometer. We ask about the past, the present, and the future. And usually we take the answers in that order. But today, I'm gonna flip it around. We're gonna start with the question whose answers jumped out at us and kind of reflects the general attitude of what's going on out there right now, and you might have seen some of this or heard some of this or felt some of this. What do I mean? Well, let's get rid of that. Okay, we're going to start with the present. This is the question asked of hundreds of local advertisers. How would you characterize the current economic situation in the US for sustaining a small business? The time frame we're going to look at during this whole video is August. Okay, in August of 2024, when we asked that question about the current economic situation, 28% said it was poor and 25% said it was good or excellent. Red will always be negative and blue will always be positive during this video. Okay, well, without any context, you don't know if that's good, bad, or other, right? So let's look at August's from years past. August's. Okay, we've seen that the percentages who say poor has ticked up. Meanwhile, the percentages who say good, excellent, maintaining. Apparently we didn't ask the question in August of 2021. Whose fault is that? Well, we really don't need 2021. It's okay. Back in the pandemic, 48% said it was poor, 16% said it was good. So this might be a cause for concern where over a quarter of local advertisers say, yeah, the current condition is poor. Sound the alarms. Or let's look at some other things, namely the past. And by the past, I mean we asked them, over the past 6 months, do you think it's gotten easier or harder to sustain a small business in the US? Easier, harder. 51% said it's gotten harder. 6% said it's gotten easier. Well, what about previous August? It says, aha. So last year it was 50%, 10%. Real similar. 61%, 9%, 57%, 18%. And back in 2020, 89% said it's gotten worse. It's gotten harder. 3% said it's gotten easier. Who are those 3% in 2020? Like pharmacies? Anyway, incidentally, the other barometers we had between these time frames have all been about 50%. In fact, they've been exactly 50%. 50%, 50%, 52%, 51%. So it's been this for the past year. What about the future? Remember, this is all about trying to put this into context. Do we need to panic about this? Future. The future question was, during the next 6 months, that's where you get the future part, economic conditions for sustaining a small business will get better or get worse. 30% said get worse, 15% said get better. Remember, think about the next 6 months. An election, the holiday shopping season. 30% said economy get worse, 15% yay. In years past, okay, last year, really similar numbers, 29%, 14%. And look at the drop in pessimism from 2022 to 23, 41% down to 29. It maintained here. There was optimism back in 2020. 21% said, hey, it's going to get better. So what happens when you bottom out. But then 14, 12, 14, 15. So their outlook to the future isn't radically different than it was last year or on the optimistic side the years before. Okay, but what about advertising spend? What do they see happening in the next 6 months? That's our fourth question. Okay, this is about the future dollars. Are they going to be spending more in advertising? Over the next 6 months, my business will spend more or less on advertising marketing than it did over the past 6 months. August of 24, 20% said less, 19% said more. Pretty even. To put it into context, last year, 13% said they were going to spend less, 22% said they were going to spend more. In previous years, 16%, 19, 27 less, 16, 25, 20 more. So, putting this all together, I think we're seeing the tension of literally the present day. A couple of months before an election, there's a great deal of tension in the air. But it's not that the overall economy has been any worse than it was in previous years at this time, from a local advertiser's perspective. Their future outlook looks a lot like it was during a non-election year last year. And although comparing 2024 to 2020 isn't quite fair because of COVID, back then 20% said they're going to be spending more, now 19%. So it's on par with another presidential election year. So what I guess I'm saying is that although their outlook on the present situation has jumped a little bit, to 28%. Everything else looks fairly normal for this time of year. And obviously I'm only looking at post-COVID stuff. Pre-COVID, you can't compare to. We are in a new normal now, or this is the normal. What I'm saying is, even though presently things might feel goofy, the attitudes towards the future aren't so goofy, as opposed to your host, apparently. I'm just saying I resent the goofy Who wrote that? Oh, I did.
You've been watching Corey's Local Marketing Minute, sponsored by our friends at Adcellerant. Learn more at adcellerant.com. Remember, if you'd like to hear more of Corey's insights, check out the Local Marketing Trends podcast. Just Google Burrell Podcast or look for the podcast link on burrellassociates.com.